This is Mikey.
And I'm Garrison Rifen. This is Cinema Debrief. Welcome to Cinema Debrief. I'm Garrison Rifen. So excited to be back with you guys this week, and also back with my co-host, Mikey. How you doing tonight, Mikey?
What is up, Garrison? I didn't tell you this during the pre-show, but I got an email. I'm super excited. It's big, huge breaking news announcement. Cinema Debrief is now certified in Infinity Vision. I didn't know. I didn't know that. I forgot to tell you that I had requested that of Disney, but they have certified us in Infinity Vision, and it can only mean good things for us.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. Yeah, it means that we have a giant screen, laser projection, 7.1 sound.
Yes.
But we're also not IMAX, of course.
We're not IMAX. We've just got that Infinity Vision stamp of approval.
Well, did you enjoy your CinemaCon week?
Man, I actually did. I watched a lot of CinemaCon coverage, mostly John Campea did some really good coverage. John Roca did some pretty good coverage. My first experience with the new rock stars, which they've been around forever, but I've never watched any of their content before. And they did a really good job of doing real-time coverage of the Disney panel.
I love that kind of stuff.
And so, yeah.
Someone's off to the side telling them what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They had somebody in the room that would send them info of what just got announced or who's on stage, stuff like that. So
you get
that was
genuine
actually
reactions of
genuine reactions of stuff. And so the big news obviously is whale fall. I mean, that's the huge news.
But unironically, kind of is.
Yeah, no, I mean, people were very impressed by the coverage they saw of whale fall. So
yeah,
Brian Duffield, I think is the guy's last name, who did Spontaneous, and he did a movie for Netflix as well. But he's an interesting director, and he's a writer too. He hasn't directed everything that he's written. I think he wrote or co-wrote Love and Monsters, I believe. The one of those. So I actually have liked his stuff before. So look, Josh Brolin, I'm a mark for Josh Brolin. I'm a mark for huge whales eating people. So I'm excited about Whale Fall. But yeah, I don't know. There was tons of other stuff.
To begin the week, there was the Angel Studios Sony Pictures Classic Studio Canal panel. First day, afternoon panel. You got Angel releasing 5 or 6 different trailers from that event.
Different genres too.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting to see. I was glad to see that they're branching out and doing action and stuff like that too with Alan Richardson, and that just seems smart to me. You got to diversify the business a little bit. Totally. You want to be a big studio.
Yeah.
The one they seem to be pushing the most was Young Washington, which is coinciding with the 4th of July, which seems really smart for them to do. I think Sound of Freedom was also released at a similar time frame.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So it seems like kind of their prime release date at this point, though they've not really had a film do what that film did.
No, I guess the animated stuff has done well for them. But as far as live action, that's the first really big one that they had was Sound of Freedom.
Yeah. Sony Pictures Classics. Honestly, everything in that presentation I didn't really care for.
So the last Pickpock of New York or something like that was a Sony Pictures Classic. A lot of buzz about John Turturro's performance in that.
Sundance film.
Early Oscar actor, not shortlist, but he's getting buzz for that performance. So I don't, obviously a movie like that's not going to do huge financial business, but could get a Best Actor nom.
They also talked about a Saudi murder mystery they bought, which look, I'm a murder mystery mark, so I'll be eager to see what the reception to that is, and then maybe see if I want to see it when it comes out. Studio Canal, French studio. It's their first time at CinemaCon. They announced a bunch of things that they were working on, not as much stuff that was really in the can. I mean, it was like Paddington 4. They're going to do a Paddington animated film.
Animated, because why not? I mean, at this point you have to. I mean, if you're going to capitalize on the IP, you might, because that's really the only IP that Studio Canal somehow owns is Paddington, and it's done well for them.
Yeah, they're doing a Pippi Longstocking film,
right? Which there was one in the 90s. I remember when I was a kid, a Pippi Longstocking movie came out, but yeah, I guess technically speaking, that's another IP they have.
To me, the biggest news of this was an Escape from New York reboot, as well as a Howling reboot as well. But Escape from New York was the bigger news.
Just interesting. Like, I just don't. First and foremost, I'm worried about like what budget can they really put into that. And not to say that you can't make a lower budget action film like Escape from New York that is fine, but who has the, as the kids say, the riz of Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken? I mean, who can you find out there that is going to have that much charisma?
Even Wyatt doesn't have that necessarily.
No,
I like Wyatt.
I like Wyatt a lot, but I don't think he would be good for a Snake Plissken role. That's a different type of thing. So, and the Howling, look, I actually like the Howling quite a bit. So that's a good werewolf movie.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's all just going to be like who they put. Look, if they called like Stan Winston Studios or Phil Tippett and they're like, hey, come do an actual practical werewolf again, you've got me sold if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But that's expensive. So
yeah. Danny Boyle's got a new movie with them, Inc., starring the guy from the last two 28 Years Later films.
Yeah, a lot of buzz for Inc. So
Jack O'Connell,
and he's a lot of buzz around Jack O'Connell too. So
yeah, Fonda from Justine Triet, however you say her name,
mm-hmm.
The director of Anatomy of a Fall.
Not about the life of Jane Fonda, is it?
I have no idea what it's about.
I hope it's not. No, I don't think it is. But.
New Taron Egerton film. I'm not going to say the title. Aardman putting out a new Shaun of the Sheep movie.
Yes.
Shaun the Sheep movie. The Beast of Mossy Bottom.
Friend of the show, Jeremy Burgess, loves the Shaun the Sheep movies.
Yes. I love the Shaun the Sheep movies.
I do too. I'm excited about it.
I love the first one the most. It's a
I mean, there's been diminishing returns for those, but the thing that I love about this one is it's not direct to Netflix. It's actually getting a theatrical release, because the last two of those have gotten like Netflix deals. So I'm excited for theatrical release on that.
Friend of the show, Jeremy Burgess's favorite director, Eli Roth, is getting a movie called Ice Cream Man. The trailer premiered there and released online. His favorite director, of course.
Yeah. Of course, it's his favorite director. Yeah. No, I mean, look, and that is actually, I don't know if they're going to call it a remake, but it's certainly, and there was an Ice Cream Man film, I believe, with Clint Howard, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. The thing with those type of movies, all that Eli tries to do, and it works for Damien Leone, is just shock. That's all he wants to do. He just wants to just shock every viewer as much as he possibly can, and I've never enjoyed that type of thing. So
I think we may be talking about a director like that later on in this episode.
We probably will, but maybe not as harshly.
No, it's not as bad, maybe. But
correct. Yeah.
Let's get to the big stuff. Sony Pictures has a big panel. Spider-Man Brand New Day releases 2 posters. They put them online. They also get a clip of Peter showing up to a party where Ned and MJ are throwing a party in their apartment, and Ned has this whole wall of Spider-Man stuff, and he's trying to figure out the identity of Spider-Man, and Peter, I'm assuming, seems awkward around that.
Yeah.
And then we see MJ kissing Ezra Bridger.
Yes.
So she's got a new boyfriend played by the guy who does.
What is his name?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Ephraim something. If Ron.
I think it's yeah.
It's not Amon Villani.
No, that's the Miss Marvel.
That's a Miss Marvel. Yes.
They showed some Across the Spider-Verse footage there, which I'm super excited about, and I feel like
long-awaited footage.
I really feel like they could have it out this year, but I think this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think with Brand New Day coming out, they kind of wanted to separate those two.
And the thing with animation, especially like high-quality animation, is the longer you give them, the better the product will be.
Yeah. Yes.
And
they're doing great things with that trilogy.
Yes, it's been a long time, but the cool thing is, it starts immediately as far as timeline is concerned. After the end of the most recent one, you're picking right up where it left off. So
just 4 years later.
Well, no, I think what I mean by that is I think the beginning of the film pays off what we saw at the end of. But
no, I know. I'm just saying.
But then there's a time. I think there is a time jump of some type, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can't be too much because Spot is closing in to kill his father.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good old Spot.
Jumanji 4 or 3, whichever way you want to put it.
Yeah.
Got a title, Jumanji Open World. It's going to open the week after Dune and Doomsday, and I fear for it.
Could work for them.
I hope so.
Could work for them. Who knows?
I hope it's a good movie. I enjoyed the first two. they announced a bunch of new video game stuff. I'll just cover that all real quick here. Bloodborne movie was announced.
Yes.
You had a Helldivers movie update directed by Justin Lin, starring Jason Momoa. Live action Legend of Zelda movie has wrapped filming.
But no footage.
To me, it's very smart that Sony is getting into the video game movie space, because I feel like they are kind of almost uniquely have kind of a step up on the competition there, because first off, they own the rights to some of the games that they could just start adapting.
Right.
Obviously, not all of those are Zelda's Nintendo. I don't know who has Bloodborne, but I do think that that's a PlayStation thing. Then you got Resident Evil, another video game adaptation from Sony, this time directed by Zach Krager, and the reactions to this were phenomenal.
Yeah, I was excited to hear the reactions of the crowd on that, and that's not footage they've released yet, but I mean, I'm super stoked for it. It just sounds like it's going to be great.
The last thing I'll cover here, there's plenty of stuff covered in these panels you can look up yourself, but to me, Takashi Yamazaki's Grand Gear, they showed that off. It is like a Pacific Rim type film.
That's the one produced by JJ, right?
It's produced by JJ, and it's the director of Godzilla -0 and -1.
Yes.
So I'm very excited for
they
it.
They showed some previs stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think they had any like real footage so they showed a little bit of stuff. Yeah.
And he's a VFX guy, so I'm sure he worked on the previs himself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
Which is great. That leads me into the next panel. Neon the Next Day was like a joint panel, state of the industry, had G-Kids associated with it. So they showed a Godzilla -0 teaser, essentially, which released online later that night. And I love the footage we saw from that. Godzilla in New York in the late 1940s.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes. It will be great. Yeah. I mean, visually, we know what we're going to get. So if you liked the visual aesthetics of Godzilla -1, you're going to love this. I mean, so it's going to be awesome. I'm so looking forward to it.
And it's a direct sequel. It's got the cast coming back. I did see some people going like, oh no, those poor people. They're getting involved with Godzilla again.
Right. They can't get away from him.
But the rest of the panel for Neon, you had Hokum shown off.
Yeah. I can't decide if I'm excited for that movie or not, but yeah.
I don't know either. I definitely don't know about I Love Boosters or Leviticus or A Place in Hell. All three of those.
All three of those sound, I don't know. They could be good or not. I'm not sure.
Na Hong Jin's new film, the director of The Wailing.
Yes, The Wailing. Yeah.
Hope. Coming out later this year sounds awesome.
Yeah.
You
Fassbender.
sent me something about this previous to CinemaCon.
Well, I'm in the know. No, I'm not. I don't. I just got lucky on that one. But no, that one's cool because it's got, obviously there's going to be a large Asian cast, but you've got Fassbender in there. Got somebody else I can't remember off the top of my head.
Taylor Russell, who we've seen in a couple things, but I thought there was a third cast member. Cameron Britton.
Maybe
Alicia Vikander.
That's who it is. Alicia Vikander.
I was going through
that's the other bigger name. Yeah, IMDb is horrible with the way they list cast lists, but yeah. Anyways, it's a new Fassbender film. Look, I mean, 10 years ago, if you throw Fassbender's name in a cast, it's like a must-watch thing. He's been having like a lot of, and he's done it to himself because he's been doing a lot of television, and so the choices that he has made lately haven't necessarily got him into like the movie star realm anymore, but he's a great actor. So I'm excited for that movie. I mean, that's going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. I love that director's work. The Wailing, I think you watched it and called it like an evil movie kind of, but
well, yeah, I mean, it's because it jumps out at you, man. I mean, it's like a slow burn.
It is a dark film,
it is dark,
but it is really well done.
Very well made. Yeah.
Warner Brothers panel later that night.
Yep.
They announced 14 theatrical releases this year.
Yeah.
18 by 27.
It's awesome.
Which is great. They announced a new little sub studio, Clockwork.
Yeah.
Being run by a bunch of former Neon execs, apparently, which has me excited. And their first film is Ti Amo, directed by Sean Baker.
Yeah, which is interesting. It's Italian, so they're going for the Italian Ti Amo.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, instead of Tay, that's why I said T. So I don't know if that's even right.
Te Amo is, I don't know,
is Spanish.
Spanish. So Ti Amo, I think, is
I'm just gonna assume that's right. They showed off a little sizzle reel of 27 films. We got Minecraft 2 coming back with Jack Black.
Which is gonna make them a crap ton of money.
Yeah, and that's not a surprise after what Minecraft did in America.
Yeah.
You feel bad for some of the theater workers.
I'm gonna go like on the weirdest day of the week where I know no one's gonna be there throwing things.
Yeah. Chicken Jockey Part 2 coming to theaters.
Oh, big time. Oh, big time.
Remain from M. Night and Nicholas Sparks. This still intrigues me a lot, even though I have not loved as much M. Night stuff lately. Him doing a Nicholas Sparks adaptation or film, whatever it is.
It's very strange.
It's intriguing.
I think it's an original script. I don't think it's based on a previous work of Nicholas Sparks. I think they just collaborated together on an original script. So, it could be good, but I don't know. We'll see.
You've got Digger footage that came shot on VistaVision.
Of course.
Your favorite thing.
VistaVision, yes. Look, I mean, Euphoria is shot in VistaVision, apparently. So, I mean, whatever. Everybody's touting VistaVision lately. It's just the new thing. It is just, everybody's just...
It's actually, I think, slightly taller than IMAX film.
Right. Yeah. But and so what 10 theaters in the United States can maybe actually display
I don't even think it's 10. I think
it might
it's
be less
to like
than that.
5.
Yeah, it might be 5. Which what's the whole point? But anyways.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that one. The one person that seemed very excited about it was Roca. He thought that this could be Cruise's Oscar win finally. But it does sound like it's in the realm of something like Doctor Strangelove. Yeah. So if you're not down with that type of humor, then I don't know if it's going to connect with people.
Yeah,
so we'll
I totally
see.
agree. It sounds exactly what they're going for.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited about it.
I jumped past the sizzle reel. Sorry. In the middle of the sizzle reel, Ocean's prequel with Margot Robbie and Bradley Cooper coming.
Directed by Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, directed by Bradley Cooper. Going to be a Grand Prix heist. Sounds interesting.
Set in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. During, I think, a real, Grand Prix that happened, but not a obviously real event where a heist happened. Right. Keanu Reeves and Tim Miller are doing a shark movie called
Aussie Nate.
Yeah, Aussie
One
Nate.
for Aussie Nate.
You got Evil Dead Wrath coming in 27.
Yeah.
Hunt for Gollum, which I think needs to move off that date. I don't think Dune 3 is in as much trouble as Hunt for Gollum is right now. That's my feeling.
We'll see. I mean, that's a pretty big... bringing back Lord of the Rings, basically bringing back the people that made that original trilogy. That's a pretty big fan base. So I don't know. We'll see. I think they've got more power than you think.
I don't know.
You're bringing back Elijah Wood. Come on. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. And finally, Godzilla X Kong Supernova.
Yeah.
Was shown off.
Not directed by Adam Wingard.
No,
directed
he
by
stepped
somebody
away.
new. I can't remember the name of the guy who's directing this one.
Yeah.
But they've usually gone. Oh wait, no, it's not. They usually go with an independent guy, give him a shot and see if he can figure out how to do a big blockbuster. It's
Grant Spatore?
See, exactly. Not familiar. I'm sure he's done some indie film that Pam and Mike saw and were impressed with it or something. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. He directed his first film in 2019. He hasn't done anything since.
What was his first
produced
film?
A couple things. I Am Mother was his first
film. Yeah. Okay.
Netflix.
Did not like that movie at all, but we'll see. That's the one with what's her face, that friend
Clara
of the show.
Ruggard? Rose Byrne?
Is Naomi Rapace not in that one?
No.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking about a different I Am Mother. Okay, I have not seen this I Am Mother then with with Rose Byrne. Haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, it's on
Heard
Netflix,
of it.
Or was. I don't know.
Well, just like all Netflix films, they just are forgotten. As I so eloquently put it in our Discord, a fart in the wind is what most Netflix films are.
End of Oak Street footage. Got some extended footage there. I'm intrigued by that film.
Yeah.
The trailer was all right, but I want to see some more. Evil Dead Burn. So you got 2 Evil Dead films in production, basically.
Well, one's
done by different directors.
One's done. Yeah.
It's not released yet.
Yeah, this one is done by. It's not the guy that did Last Stop in Yuma County. He's working on Evil Dead Wrath.
Okay.
Now there was some confusion.
This is Infested.
Yeah, he didn't. The guy that did Burn did Infested. There was some confusion in the room about this. And I am still trying to figure it out, but they made a really big point about Evil Dead Wrath to say that Sam Raimi was back. Now, I think he's just producing the film, though.
Yes.
I don't think
and he's producing all of them, so I thought that was a weird...
It was weird. I
feel like there was a miscommunication there.
I think that's why they confused the room, because the way they said, Evil Dead Wrath, Sam Raimi's back. And I'm like, well, he's not even directing it. Yes, he's producing it, but he's produced all of them, so it's very.
He and Tappert have been producing the more recent ones. So,
yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense. You got Mortal Kombat 2 footage. You had This made me super excited. New Cat in the Hat trailer, and I'm being serious because I'm so sick of the old trailer. Give me something.
Oh, a new trailer. Well, apparently it just doesn't look good, but it almost looks like the animation style of Into the Spider-Verse, like they're trying, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're trying that new animation style, and maybe it's just not translating well. I don't know.
I don't think the animation is the problem, because it got two different animation styles. When he's in the kind of imaginary world, he's 2D, and when he's in the real world, it's 3D animation, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, fine.
But I just do not care for that teaser. Man of Tomorrow starts production this week. As of the release of this episode, they will be starting production this week, which is exciting. Practical Magic 2 had a little panel. Great Beyond had some footage shown with some mixed reactions.
Well, and The Great Beyond is a big deal because it's JJ's first film since Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, it is.
I mean, so that's like theoretically, that's a big deal. I mean, it's been a minute.
Big name cast. Jenna Ortega and Glenn Powell.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean,
and Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, it sounds like it's an amalgamation of a bunch of different genres, which is fine.
JJ said at the panel that Samuel Jackson gave his best performance ever. So
I disagree because his best performance ever is in a movie we're talking about in a few minutes.
Oh, yeah. They showed the first 7 minutes of Dune Part 3, and it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it really does.
I'm a Denis Villeneuve mark, my second favorite working director today.
Here's the problem with both Dune Part 3 and Doomsday, though. There's so much hyperbole online about both of them. Like, this Dune Part 3 should be in trouble, or vice versa. I mean, Doomsday should be in...
It was Bellany that said Doomsday should be in, thinking about
it's
moving.
Like, it's both sides. It's the people that think... here's what I think. I think from an Academy Award auteur standpoint, Dune Part 3 is probably going to be the film that you will enjoy more. But from a spectacle and just crowd-pleasing action adventure standpoint, Doomsday is probably going to be the better. I mean, I don't know. It is.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I do think Dune will have spectacle, but I understand what you're saying, because I don't think Dune is going to be a very happy film.
No, it shouldn't be.
And
if it follows,
Doomsday's probably not going to be as happy as some other Marvel films, because they're going to have to lead towards a part 2 anyway. But I agree. I get where you're coming from. But I'm so excited to see Dune Part 3. Just hearing that the opening footage is like the opening of Saving Private Ryan, like the D-Day opening. It sounds awesome. The final thing from the panel, Zach Kreger's The Flood is coming soon. I was glad to hear that went away from Netflix, because I know Netflix was trying to hold on to that film. And
now, is the Flood the one he's just producing, though, or is that...
Flood was the one he wrote. Netflix had it, and then they were like, well, we're just going to make it without you if you aren't going to direct it. And then I guess now WB has it, which is great, because maybe he'll make it now himself.
Because there's two... Okay, no. The one he's not directing is the... prequel to...
That one, too.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. The Gladys one.
But he's not directing it. He just wrote it and produced it. But,
correct. So, and I imagine, I don't know if he's going to write the final draft or whatever, but yes, a section of weapons was taken out, and I don't think they were shot at the script.
The date of one of those is going to change, because right now they're a week apart or a month apart or something like that on the calendar. So I'm sure he doesn't want his name, because his name's going to be used for marketing for both of them, even though he's not directing Gladys. I'm sure one of those has got to change. You can't have Flood and Gladys come out that close to each other.
I'm going to try to fly through some of these a little bit faster.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's on me. Universal Pictures Focus Features panel, Snoop Dogg biopic coming, committed to longer theatrical windows. Odyssey footage shown, but nothing really notable there, because it was pretty much what they showed at the IMAX prologue stuff. Monsters and Minions was actually maybe the most interesting thing, because of the old Hollywood stuff kind of intrigued
I didn't realize that it was going to be like a love letter to cinema, basically. So that's pretty fun. Yeah.
They showed a sizzle reel of One Night Only, a rom-com, Other Mommy, a horror starring Jessica Chastain, and Violent Night 2. Which we've talked about previously. They put out a trailer for Focker-in-Law.
Right.
If you're excited about that.
Starring Ariana Grande, which I, for some reason, didn't realize that.
Skylar Gisondo or
Gigondo,
From
he's Jimmy
Superman.
Olsen.
Yeah. Focus Features announced a new Sense and Sensibility adaptation and showed werewolf footage.
Yes. Werewolf. You have to say it that way.
Werewolf.
Werewolf.
Yeah. Excited for the new Eggers film, of course. And Disclosure Day panel kind of closed it out with Domingo and Spielberg on stage. Spielberg played to the crowd, said that we should have 90 days. No, how about 120-day windows?
Spielberg's first time at CinemaCon, apparently.
Yeah, and he said not going to be on my last, too. So
we'll see. He wants to make a Western next, so we'll see what happens.
I'm excited about that. Amazon MGM had a long panel into the night that I did not stay up for, but
I did not either.
I have some notes. Michael B. Jordan's Thomas Crown Affair remake got a trailer, and it had really, really good reactions there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and Adrian Arjona is in that as well.
That's true.
Who was just cast in Man of Tomorrow.
Yep, 100%.
As who, we don't know, but that's what she's cast.
They're saying Maxima right now. We'll see. Extension of Project Hail Mary's theatrical run, which I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
They showed Masters of the Universe footage. They showed Beekeeper 2 footage, which got good reaction.
Good reaction. Yeah.
Good reactions. I'm so happy about that because I like the first one a lot.
I like the first one, yeah.
No Bond announcement. Sheep Detectives had a little thing. A Cult is My Passport from Gareth Evans.
Yeah.
Showed some footage.
Yeah.
Apparently
which I sent you a thing about that. That's actually a remake.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
I have got that in my watch list to watch the original from 1967, I believe. An Asian film. I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese or whatever, but it's available on the Criterion channel if you've got that subscription.
Okay.
So,
How to Rob a Bank from David Leitch. I love these action guys are just working with Amazon. You got Beekeeper, Cold as My Passport, and then you got Mahershala Ali doing a thriller called Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother.
Got good reaction, apparently. Did they show footage of that? I think
just minor footage,
Yeah.
Verity footage was shown. Chosen footage was shown, which I didn't realize Amazon was.
Yeah, they've done a lot of those. Yeah, they've done the quote unquote broadcast, like you can watch it on Amazon or whatever.
Yeah,
but I mean that'll be good. Maybe a certain podcast will come back and cover that.
Yeah, Jacob.
Two Protestants and a Catholic. Maybe they'll come.
Cough.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, Dr. Earl, step it up.
Spaceballs 2, the new one, as it's got its title in the funny video that you had Mel Brooks put out. Rick Moranis was on stage. The joke the entire time was that they would cut Rick Moranis off every time he tried to talk.
right, exactly.
Which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Then you got Highlander from Chad Stahelski starring Henry Cavill. We got some footage from that. They're still shooting that as of right now.
Apparently Russell Crowe getting ripped for that movie. Like there was some Instagram footage of him with huge muscles. It reminded me of
for a little bit.
It reminded me of when J.K. Simmons was going to be in the Batman, and they showed him working out. It reminded me of that.
But he wore a trench coat the whole time.
Right, exactly. It was pointless. Like, why are you working out?
The final panel of the night, as a part of the MGM panel, was I Play Rocky, which I am fascinated by.
Yeah, got a good pop in the room.
A biopic about Stallone making Rocky. It sounds awesome.
So it's in the vein of The Offer, kind of. That was on Amazon, I believe. Was that Amazon? It might have been. I don't know. Can't remember.
I think The Offer was Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. About The Offer was about The Godfather. This is about the Rocky.
Speaking of Paramount, they had the penultimate panel. They talked about the Call of Duty movie, directed by Peter Berg, written by Taylor Sheridan, which I didn't realize he was writing that.
Yeah.
Then they kind of listed a bunch of things that to me were like, okay, there's nothing happening here. Top Gun 3, new Star Trek, World War Z sequel, new Transformers.
But none of them, like
none of those have moved.
Yeah, they're not like a lot of those are not even in pre-production. Like they're just
they're
like
in pre-production.
Here's things we'd like to do.
They're in development, which means there's a lot of cost going towards them.
Right, exactly.
Then you had Longlegs sequel announced for Paramount, which was interesting because Neon had the first one. Now Paramount's going to have the sequel, bringing back Nicolas Cage as Longlegs.
Very strange because if you know the first one, he did, but whatever.
Yes,
I mean,
he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sonic 4, Jim Carrey's returning.
Of course.
Who would have guessed after he died for the third time that he was back?
Yeah, got to bring him back. This is reincarnated Jim Carrey. Yeah.
Shredder and Krang are going to be in the TMNT sequel. Jim Cameron and Billie Eilish came on stage to talk about their new 3D concert film. He said he invented new 3D tech for the film. Who could have guessed it?
Who could have guessed, and who really cares? But no, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Scary Movie 6 panel went how you expect. They made a new Jackass film.
Yes, they did.
Best and Last. They claim this is actually the final one.
Yeah, and apparently they're going to have it's going to be like old footage, but then a few new stunts. So it's almost just going to be like the final love letter to the franchise in a way. Which is fine. I mean, it is what it is.
Paw Patrol Dino movie and Angry Birds 3 are your kind of big kids movies coming out from Paramount this year.
Yep.
They had a Street Fighter panel. Didn't really care for anything that came out of that. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I just didn't really care. Mr. Irrelevant, the John Tugwell story. They showed some footage
huge.
for that. That's coming out the week after Dune, and
that's a
Doomsday
Christmas Day release. I am excited about it, and if it is good, I think it could do well for Paramount. Just because sports movies, Christmas. I mean,
it didn't cost a lot. That's my hope.
Yeah,
I hope it was kind of like the American Underdog movie with Levi in terms of not costing a lot. Heart of the Beast, directed by David Ayer and starring Brad Pitt, got good reactions.
That's good.
I'm very happy about that because I would like to see Ayer get some wins.
Brad Pitt with a silly haircut again. So whenever he's got silly haircuts, could mean good things.
Final two films of this panel, Ty West's Ebenezer, Johnny Depp came on stage, gave a whole spiel.
He's apparently back. He's back.
It's leaning into the horror elements, who would guess, with Ty West doing the film.
Yeah.
And then finally, Children of Blood and Bone was shown, or footage shown. A lot of people seem to like the footage.
Yeah.
It's weird to me that this is a mid-January release, though.
Yeah, that is strange.
Signals not confidence in the film from the studio.
It's the movie that Lucasfilm had the rights for, and then Kathy decided to let it go. And it went to a different studio. So,
which again feels like not confidence in the film, but it's weird because
a good
they
cast.
got some good talent behind the film.
Yeah.
Disney panel, final panel of the entire thing. They touched on Devil Wears Prada 2. Mando and Grogu had the first 15 minutes shown. It's going to have 49 minutes of IMAX, full 143 apparently.
Yeah.
And Ludwig is back to score, which is always great.
Can't hurt.
Toy Story 5 footage was shown. I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Moana had a panel with The Rock where he went on a spiel. I don't really care about that movie that much. But it'll make money.
We'll see. I would love for one of those to fail.
I was in the theater. I can't remember. I think it was Project Hail Mary. And that trailer came on and there was a kid in front of me. And the kid was like, "New Moana, we got to go see Moana." And the dad was like, "Well, that's already a film you've seen." And he's like, "No, but it's new and it's in live action."
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, the kids like it.
maybe the kids know more than we do. I don't know. I don't know. It's very strange.
I don't care for most of them, but you got a Dog Stars trailer, which released online as well.
Apparently did not play well.
Yeah, and the test screeners are not going fantastic for it.
Yeah, new Ridley Scott movie not doing well. So
we mentioned this earlier, Whale Fall.
Yeah.
Getting great reactions out of that panel.
It just seemed like from
really the surprise of the panel.
Yes, exactly. That's nobody was anticipating it. And apparently the footage was just like breathtaking. So, I mean, I'm excited for it.
Wild Horse 9 got some footage. I heard good things. I'm always here for Martin McDonagh. So
yeah.
Then you got Hexed, starring Haley Steinfeld, which I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Jones.
And that's the new Disney animated coming in November, I believe, right?
Yep. And then Ice Age Boiling Point, they had a whole panel for that. That got mixed reactions from my understanding.
Well, yeah, because nobody cares about Ice Age movies. I mean,
did they care when I don't understand how they made so much money when they were coming out. I didn't care for them when I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Scrat from those. That's about the only thing I like is that character. That's the only thing I like from that is Scrat. So,
well, finally, big news here.
Yes.
Disney announces Infinity Vision. IMAX is dead. It's over. It's done.
It's over.
No, but
IMAX is tapping out.
I don't think that this is a bad idea. And we talked about this privately when it was confirmed that Disney didn't have IMAX. I was like, look, Disney's going to go all in on getting all the other PLFs that they can.
Sure. Well, I mean, why not? Yeah.
And why not create, just as a business, why not create a certification to go see it in this theater and go see it in this, these are the good theaters to see it in.
And there's histrionics behind that because that's essentially what THX did back in the day.
Yeah,
I mean, they had THX certified theaters and everybody was always super excited about seeing the THX thing. So I know a lot of people are scoffing at it online. A lot of punditry is complaining about especially if they try and charge extra for the tickets or whatever, which I don't think they're going to do.
I have a problem with that sentiment because I've seen a couple of people bring that up online, and I've been like, you already get charged extra for PLF, so what do you? I don't know what you're talking about. I think you'll find that the ticket price is probably going to be the same. As it was, but you're getting charged more than a normal theater because it's a premium large format. They're expensive to build and maintain. So I mean, that's just...
and the amount of theaters that are actually going to be certified for Infinity Vision is actually going to be pretty low, because I mean, there are not many cities that have even upgraded to like a laser projector. I mean, that even that aspect of things is pretty low. Like, there's no place in Birmingham that has laser projectors. I mean, and we're a pretty big city. I mean, so it's just, it's interesting that people are so complaining about it.
And let's be honest about IMAX too. I could go on a whole rant about IMAX because I love IMAX, but I think starting in 2014, when they let the digital thing kind of take over their brand, they've diluted it so much. They've got 1,700 IMAX theaters in the world. That's not a ton in the world. Most of those are in the US. Of course.
And most of those are Limaxes.
Yeah, and most of them are Limaxes. That's my point. So you've got the 30 in the world that can do 70 millimeter projection, and then you've got the GT dual laser ones that are coming out that can do it on a traditional.
So that's even fewer. I mean,
but there's not a lot of those in general anyway. So I think it's smart for Disney to lean into this kind of thing. People can get upset, but
if it forces big conglomerates like AMC or Regal to actually put some money into their smaller theaters around the country to get certified for Infinity Vision, then I think that's actually a positive. But we'll see if AMC is willing to even do something like that. I mean,
so, I totally agree. I think my theater, based on the specs, they said it was like 50-foot wide or something. Laser projection, 7.1 sound. I think my theater qualifies in their big auditorium. So
that's good.
I hope they get that certification. But they said they're going to launch it with the re-release of Endgame, which is coming this September. And there's some news from that as of this morning as we record
big news,
Joe Russo at a film festival called Sands said, and I quote, "It's critically important to re-release the movie, and in fact, we'll be re-releasing the film with footage that is set in the Doomsday story that we have added to Avengers Endgame. It's an opportunity to create a bridge from Endgame to Doomsday in a very unique way, and because the movie was so successful, we have an opportunity to re-release it. You don't always get the chance to re-release because it costs money, so the fact that we can enhance the story of Doomsday by bridging it to Endgame and these characters that we worked on with for years and that we love so much and continue their story, it's a real unique opportunity." He said, continued to describe it as a critical companion story and a setup for what you're going to watch in December when you watch Avengers Doomsday. So
I think that's big. I mean, I think that it's probably going to be a very successful re-release because of that. If people are paying attention.
I don't love the air of homework. And
that's true.
And I'm not saying that this is that. It just, to me, the one thing that I think Marvel fans do more than Marvel itself is the people who go out there and say, you have to watch this because if you don't, then you won't understand anything. When most universes and filmmakers making films in these universes try to write their films for people who just come in off the street and watch the film. Of course, there are nuances and certain things about characters you're not going to fully understand, but how can we try to reach as many people as possible?
Right.
That's how they try to write these films. I know that. My hope is that it's just a credit scene. I hope that they don't insert a lot into the film personally. And if they insert anything into the film itself, nothing that changes the story in a huge way.
I wouldn't want that.
You know, if you're okay, Steve's got a line of dialogue with this guy off to the side that we're going to add in here really quickly at the end or something before he goes off to move the stones. Okay, that's one thing. But let's not alter the story a ton. I don't think they plan to. But
or just like a throwaway line. Oh, you think that Thanos is bad? There's a bigger threat. It's like something like that. I mean,
and again, you could put a little. There's no post-credit scene on Endgame. That was on purpose. It was the end of an era. If you want to add a post-credit scene, I think that's perfectly fine. I just don't want to. Because I see people going, we could add Catherine Newton in as Cassie, and I'm like, that's starting to get into like George Lucas special edition territory. Where
I don't want that at all. So the flip side of this, and because the internet is the way the internet is, other people or some people are saying, well, I mean, does this mean they're trying to negate everything that happened in Phase 4? I'm like,
well,
no,
I think
it
the
doesn't.
quick response to that is like half the cast is Phase 4 and 5 kids. So
exactly. I mean, no, it doesn't.
That doesn't really make any sense.
No, it's just people being dumb.
They want in-game to be the bridge because it was the biggest film of all time when it came out, and you're very connected to the characters in in-game.
Yeah,
and you're not as connected to the characters in the multiverse saga. I mean, it just makes sense.
It is what it is.
It's a way for them to bring all those characters together, and then for people to meet the characters of the multiverse saga, and then it's up to Marvel to make you like those characters too.
Yeah, exactly.
We got the trailer of Doom after that,
right?
The Doomsday trailer, which had a huge pop there.
Seemed like it did
one of the biggest reactions of CinemaCon. They replayed the trailer because theater owners there were demanding a
play it again. Yeah.
So I'm excited. I don't know when they're releasing that. I would assume either right before Mando and Grogu or Brand New Day. I would hope sooner, but that's just the fan of me. So
yeah, I mean, I almost. And I'm not saying that I don't like to watch trailers on YouTube or whatever, but I almost would rather them throw that before something prior to releasing it on YouTube.
The only problem I have with that is that will leak. And we saw that with the Avatar ones.
It will. Yeah.
And I kind of didn't like that because
the rumor the whole time was they were doing it on purpose and blah blah blah.
I don't think they were. I don't know. I think they knew at a certain point. I mean, after trailer 1, I think they knew it was kind of done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't enjoy that trailer rollout necessarily. I liked the trailers, didn't love the rollout. But let's get to our off the shelf.
Yes, let's get to our off the shelf. And man, I think I finally redeemed myself a little bit because I had some off the shelves as we've been doing this that have been stinkers. But man, this one from 1996, The Long Kiss Goodnight, directed by Rennie Harlin, written by Shane Black, shot by Guillermo Navarro. You may not know the name, but he won the Oscar for Pan's Labyrinth. He was the DP on Pan's Labyrinth. Scored by Alan Silvestri. You've got to know that name. Probably his biggest one was Forrest Gump, but he's a great composer. Really enjoyed the score for this just because it had that 90s action film aesthetic, but also starring, of course, Gina Davis, Samuel L. Jackson, Craig Bierko, and Brian Cox, and then several guys that you'll kind of recognize. But this thing was so delightful because it's the type of movie. I wouldn't say that you can totally turn your brain off because you don't want to do that because the dialogue is snappy and good, and there's great one-liners, and because Shane Black delivers that kind of screenplay, you don't necessarily want to miss all the lines. But it is certainly, from a plot standpoint, a bit of a turn your brain off, just because it's the classic woman gets amnesia and gets in an accident and starts remembering things again and goes through that whole thing. Her character had hired a private investigator, and the private investigator was played by Samuel L. Jackson, who was one of the best 90s characters. And in fact, in an interview, Samuel L. Jackson said this was probably his favorite role of all time. Just because you would have to watch the movie. He's just got great one-liners, and the character is just hilarious. And he is a great counterpart to the Gina Davis's character. They just work well together. I mean, I like Gina Davis a lot. But as I was watching this movie, I kept thinking that perhaps at that time, maybe somebody could have done this role a little bit differently. And Bridget Fonda came to mind. In the 90s, she had done Point of No Return, so she had action chops. She was about to do a Tarantino movie with Jackie Brown, so she has good comedic timing. I think she would have been really great for the role. There's something about Gina Davis that I don't know. She just wasn't perfect in this role, and I think Bridget Fonda maybe could have done a little bit better, but still great, still fantastic. Great action sequences. and the thing that about a 90s movies, yes, in the 90s they were working with early visual effects, but for the most part, a lot of this was probably practical.
That one driving sequence, it kind of stands out. With Samuel Jackson.
There's
the
definitely
in the background. We're like, ooh, okay.
There's definitely early visual effects stuff that you can see in this, but there is a lot of practical stunt work, some really great stunt work.
Yeah.
Some really huge, massive explosions, which is like typical 90s. Like, I just loved everything about this movie. I'm not going to call it like the best action film ever, but it's high up there for me. I mean, I gave it 4 out of 5. I loved it.
I started this film and I had to pause it immediately because it opens on a snowy field with a Christmas song playing over it. And I went, it's a Shane Black movie. Of course, it takes place at Christmas.
Of course it does. Yes, exactly. Would have been a good off the shelf in December if we had known, but too bad.
But I love that. I love that. Like all of his film. Does The Predator take place at Christmas? I don't know if that one does. But
I don't know. I don't think
almost
it does.
every one of his films takes place at Christmas.
Just about.
And every time it catches me off guard. And I love it.
Yeah, it is perfect.
This is the first time I've learned to spell Gina Davis's name because the name popped up and I went, oh, that's how you spell that?
Geena. Yeah.
I don't know if I paid attention.
And look,
to that
I mean, she's an Academy Award-winning actress, and I totally give her props. But so I don't know. I just think Bridget Fonda would have been a little bit better in this role. But
she was married to Rennie Harlan when they made this movie.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's right. That's right, because they did Cutthroat Island together as well.
Okay. Yeah. But I enjoyed it. It's one of those, like you said, it's not totally turn your brain off because there are some kind of fun. There's some fun dialogue.
There like, continue dying, like they say stuff like that. Or
there's also a little bit of like some plot twists here or there that you kind of gotta pay attention for. Yeah. But for the most part, the highlight of this movie to me was Craig Bierko.
Yeah, he's great.
I thought he was brilliant as the villain.
Well, what's interesting about him, he's a working actor, been around for a long time. He's mostly known for his comedies, though. Like he's in a lot of independent comedies. He's got really good comedic timing, and he had a wink, like he was winking a lot throughout this. Like,
oh yeah, he's hamming it up.
Yeah, he is totally, but it worked perfectly. Yeah,
it works for this film specifically.
No,
I might not have worked in another film, but the tone that Shane Black and Rennie Harlan strike here with this film works really well for that performance.
Yeah.
This is one of the better Rennie Harlan movies I've seen because I've seen a lot of his not great films.
Yeah, he's got a record of not great films, but yeah.
But one name that stood out on the producing side, I saw Mike DeLuca produce this movie.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, so yeah.
And the current head of WB with Pamela Abdy.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised about that. I really enjoyed this movie. You said it was an Arrow release?
Well, that's what the 4K, the 4K is an Arrow.
Yeah, I might have to pick that up.
Yeah, it's worth it. I think I got a good deal on it. I waited for a while before and found one that I knew was going to have a slipcover on it. And you know how I am about my slipcovers. So I went ahead and purchased it. And the good thing with Arrow, if you've got a Barnes & Noble in your area, they will do Arrow sales every once in a while, so you can get like a good deal on that.
When I saw Brian Cox in the credits, I thought, man, how young is he going to look?
He doesn't look young.
When he showed up in the movie, I was like, oh, that's Brian Cox.
he has always looked that way. Like I guess maybe a striker, he does look a little younger, like in the original X-Men films, but later. But yeah, it's like they're right. Yeah, that was later because that was 2000. So that's interesting. But he's always kind of had that look about him.
Plays her psychiatrist or what is he supposed to be?
Well, it was like her quote unquote uncle. Like it was her handler, basically.
Yeah. But she thought he was like her psychiatrist or something, right?
Yeah,
he was like
exactly.
a doctor.
Because he was a doctor, exactly. So
yeah,
he was more. And the thing that they do well in this is they have a few plot twists. We think that maybe he's not good at first, and then he turns around and he is a kind of a good guy or whatever. But But yeah, I mean, and Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, I always thought he was a good guy, but Samuel L. Jackson pistol whipped him.
Yeah, pistol whipped
I
him.
felt bad
Exactly.
for him.
Yeah. And Samuel L. Jackson is having so much fun in this. Like, speaking of hamming it up, I mean, he's going so basically, if picture Samuel L. Jackson in any movie where he is just like ridiculous and cursing all the time and having monologues, and like, this is the quintessential Samuel L. Jackson role. And it was so great.
He's on his back foot the entire time too, which kind of lends to some really good reactions. And there's some good little ticks here and there that he gives. He would have died if she was not in the spy mode at times.
Oh, right. And that's the whole thing with this. Like, people that you think are dead, like, live in inexplicable ways. But that's your typical Shane Black, like, screenplay.
Honestly, him surviving that crash,
right,
in the air, or he gets thrown out the window.
Yes.
And the bomb goes off. He gets thrown out the window, and he gets in. He lands on a tree and goes down.
Right. Yes.
And I was like, man, I feel like he would have a lot more damage, and it wouldn't just be able.
Well, and the same can be said for the villain. I mean, Craig Bierko, like, you're like, he's dead in so many ways, and then he ends up coming back. Like, it's just, it's all Shane Black. I mean, it's fun. It's so much fun, and I am pretty sure now that I'm like caught up on Shane Black. Like, I don't know that I have, at least from the screenplay standpoint. I don't know if I've seen all, because he was an actor for a little while too. I don't know if I've seen like every Shane Black everything, but from a writing standpoint, I think this was the final box that I needed to check, and I can officially say that I'm probably caught up on Shane Black, which I think he's a great director. I mean,
I do too.
Great director, great writer. I mean,
he didn't even direct until 2005.
Right, and that's a shame. I mean, because I think that for the longest time, he probably felt like he was in the screenplay box. Like, he was like, this is what I'm going to be doing for my career, is I'm going to be a screenplay writer. And I'm sure, like all screenplay writers that actually are making money, he probably did a ton of touch-ups on other screenplays that we don't know about. I mean, that's just kind of a thing that happens in Hollywood.
There's a writer's code almost, where they won't mention it unless,
exactly,
because McQuarrie's talked about that before, where he's just okay, now I'll talk about it because they talked about
it first. Yeah. And like Carrie Fisher has done a lot of she had done a lot of that punch up on screenplays for people or whatever. But yeah, you got to know that Shane Black did that. But I do think that from like an aesthetic of, it's not universally loved, like all his stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's got just a very specific style, almost like, I don't know who wrote Midnight Run, but it feels like that type of vibe almost. I think it's somebody pretty big that wrote Midnight Run, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
George Gallo.
Yeah, we've talked about him. I know we talked about him.
I don't really think he's done honestly, I think that's the best film he wrote. Probably.
But yeah, it's just like he's got a certain way of writing that you're watching a Shane Black movie because it's always the same type of stuff. But if you love that stuff, you're going to love his movies. And I'm just glad I think what was holding me back from watching this for the longest is, like I said, I'm not a huge Gina Davis fan. I just don't like her acting style.
So you weren't excited about her playing at Sabrina Carpenter's concert last night at Coachella?
Gina Davis?
Yeah.
She was at Coachella with Sabrina Carpenter? Are you sure?
She was acting in the stage production.
Grief.
But weekend one, Susan Sarandon was the actress of. So they got the Thelma and Louise thing going.
Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, okay, whatever. You know what? Thelma and Louise probably is my favorite Gina Davis film.
Okay.
Because even though I really enjoyed this, I kept hoping somebody else was that character. I get what
you're saying. She's not the strongest part of this movie.
No, she's not. And luckily, she had a great supporting cast around her. And there's so much craziness going on that you can hide your abilities under all the craziness that's going on.
Well, and she's got two different distinct characters she's playing too.
Right.
And I don't know that she ever captures it's really the spy version that I don't know that I believe as much.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I kept thinking, oh, I bet Bridget Fonda could have nailed that role, because she did that in Point of No Return. She was really a really good spy in that film. So I don't know. That's my only, like, maybe kept it from being 4.5 or 5 stars was the Gina Davis aspect of it, because I loved everything else in it. Like, I really honestly think, and I've seen a ton of Samuel L. Jackson roles, like all his stuff with Quentin Tarantino, that's like next level. This is right under that for me. Like, this is right under any of his Quentin Tarantino roles, because I just thought he was fantastic in it. It's the type of role that I like seeing Samuel L. Jackson in, is a quippy, like, shyster type of role. I just think he's good at it.
JJ says he's got it for you. So,
well, I think that movie's unfortunately going to be very serious, and I don't love all of Samuel L. Jackson's serious roles. But I like him more like this type of thing, where he's sort of like, not necessarily like the comedic, takeaway of the film, but he's definitely got comedic aspects to it, which most Shane Black scripts are going to have that in there anyways. I mean, obviously, The Nice Guys is freaking hilarious.
Oh, might be his best movie.
Yeah, I rewatched The Nice Guys recently because Rewatchables did it, and it's such a good rewatch. It's like one that you can rewatch. It would never get old.
That's one thing he does well for me.
Yeah,
Lethal Weapon, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice Guys. All three of those specifically to me are so rewatchable.
Yeah, you can just rewatch them all the time, which hence the fact that it was on the Rewatchables. But
and we quote those daily. My dad and I.
Yeah. Well, that's why I thought like maybe Midnight Run was written by somebody a bit more notable than that guy, just because that was such a good screenplay.
Weird because I mean it's a fantastic screenplay, but maybe the guy just had one in him.
He just had one in him, exactly. He had one great screenplay in him, and that's all he can muster.
Hey, look, you can build a career off that.
Now, have you watched Shane Black's most recent Netflix movie?
I've not. Play Dirty. I have not.
Yeah, it's got moments. I'll say that it's got moments, but as with most Netflix experiences, I hate watching Netflix movies. I've just gotten to this point where I'm really just don't like watching Netflix movies. It's just a thorn in my side now.
Don't let me I
don't like
that was a Prime Video movie, Mikey.
What was? Oh, Playdate was, or Play Dirty?
Dirty. Yeah.
Same thing then. I mean, because honestly, I think I watched maybe the worst movie I've ever seen in my life recently. The other night.
The 87 North movie?
No. That was fine. Balls Up is probably, I gave it a 0.5 star. It may be the worst movie I've ever seen. It's Mark Wahlberg's most recent movie, written and directed by Peter Farrelly. Maybe the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Like, I was mad the whole time. But I wasn't going to let it beat me. I finished it.
I know what you mean.
It was the worst.
I refuse to not finish movies for the most part. There's only one movie that I started and just 10 minutes in. I'll tell you someday. But 10 minutes in, I was just like, this is not for me.
You were like done. All right. Well, anyways, like, highly recommend The Last Kiss Goodnight. If you have the means to watch it, you must watch it. It is very good. And now I'm excited to hear about what your off-the-shelf pick is.
I'm going to do something a little different. It's going to be for my Criterion shelf.
Oh, nice.
Start working on those a little bit.
I'm excited.
To Be or Not to Be.
To Be or Not to Be.
From 1942. It's on HBO Max, and it's directed by Ernst Lubitsch.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Stars Jack Benny, Carol Lombard.
Okay.
And this Blu-ray specifically has a ton of extras. Well,
they always do, yeah.
Including some silent short films, a French documentary on the director, 2 episodes of Screen Guild Theater, a radio anthology series, which has Variety starring Jack Benny and Lubitsch, and To Be or Not to Be, an adaptation of the film starring William Powell.
What is he known for? Because I've heard his name. Like, what's his biggest movie? Ernest Lubitsch.
That's a good question, because I did not look it up previously. But let's see. He did Shop Around the Corner, which we know.
That's the one. Okay, that's the.
He did Heaven Can Wait too, which is not what was remade.
But
that was a bigger film at the time. The one that was remade is actually Here Comes Mr. Jordan was remade into Heaven Can Wait.
So Shop Around the Corner, which becomes You've Got Mail. That's the one that I'm familiar with of his. I just reckon when you said his name, I immediately recognized it because I've watched within the last 10 years. Yeah. I watched Shop Around the Corner,
and that one's good. I have seen that one.
It is, yeah, it is good.
So
I'm excited. See, that's what we need. We need some like non-modern films every once in a while.
And this was remade by Mel Brooks later on as well.
But was it called To Be or Not to Be?
Yep, it was.
Oh, I don't know that one. That's a Mel Brooks hole then, because I don't know that one. Interesting.
It's a World War II kind of satire. Comedy. So
cool. I'm excited. Good pick.
Yeah.
Do we have to talk about this next one? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we do.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Lee Cronin's The Mummy, as it's so aptly titled, as Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
Really not a, when you go into this film, spoilers ahead, because I mean, we just can't.
Nobody needs to see it, so yeah, major spoilers, yeah.
This almost feels like he wanted to make another Evil Dead film instead of a mummy movie, because these are really almost barely mummies.
Barely.
It's a demon that's been inserted into a child.
Yes. Yeah.
To be a
the
vessel.
Lore of it isn't even like what the original mummy lore is.
No, and then they mummify these things with protection spell to prevent the demon from getting out until they need to transfer it to a new host. So
you can barely the only reason you can even call it a mummy film is because of the wrappings.
Because of the mummification.
The mummification, like that's it. Like there's no, it's more like you said, it's more demonic possession film than what I would call a mummy film.
That part of it intrigued me when you got the Egyptologist coming in there and talking about the spirit that causes these families to fight and turn on each other, and then it suddenly just went away. That was intriguing to me.
But
more
they
than
did
the
not
gruesome violence.
It had to have been almost an hour and 15 minutes before we get any of that, though.
Oh yeah,
like before we even get to the Egyptologist.
This movie is too long.
It's way too long.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
It's way too long.
I did not hate this movie. I will say that, but
I definitely didn't hate it, because here's my problem. Like, kind of two things can be true at the same time with this movie for me.
Yeah,
like I like Lee Cronin a lot. I've watched a couple of interviews with him. He's a cinephile, first of all. Like, dude knows so much about like old movies, and just he's got a lot of interesting films that he talks about that you wouldn't think would be his aesthetic, because he's only directed horror films. Yeah. And so he like, when you listen to interviews with him, he talks about all kinds of different types of cinema. And Jack Rayner's the same. Rayner, is that his last name? The star of the film.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a huge cinephile, which, he's a younger guy. He's younger than I am, and he's probably about your age, Garrison, if not a little older.
He's my sister's age, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a little older, but he's also a huge cinephile. When you listen to those guys talk about movies, like I could listen to him talk about movies for hours. So I really like the guy a lot. I didn't hate his Evil Dead film. That's not, like, I've always said this about the Evil Dead films. I more like Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. So I'm more of that type of Evil Dead fan than maybe what the Fede Alvarez and the Lee Cronin Evil Dead films are, which is more just trying to shock and awe type situation.
Yes.
Is what those are trying to do. And so he brings that again, unfortunately. He brings like the shock and awe aspect of his filmmaking, which is he wants to do gross things and just try and just gross you out.
The toenail scene.
Yeah, I mean the toenail scene. There's so many scenes in this movie, but he also like doesn't know when to pull back on that to where it doesn't get like laughable almost. Yeah. Like what he does to the grandmother, like when she dies. And like I said, we're going to spoil stuff. Like, I think it's ridiculous to have your character jump out of a window, fall on a car, and just get maimed from that, but also fall off the car and then get maimed by like
almost
wolves.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just he doesn't have it's like he doesn't have somebody giving him notes on where to stop. And so it kind of takes away from it a little bit. And I had a great like interaction with somebody after the movie, and this doesn't happen that often in Birmingham, just because you just don't. People don't talk to each other anymore in public. People are always afraid to talk to each other, like if strangers or whatever. And I was wearing my Letterboxd shirt, as I often do, and he noticed it, and he was like, "What'd you give it?" And I was like, "I gave it 2." So I immediately knew, okay, this guy knows what Letterboxd is. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm only going to give it 1.5." So we had a mutual like understanding, and this guy's name, shout out to Joe if he happens to listen to the podcast, because I told him about the podcast. But we kind of mutually agreed that we think that Lee Cronin is super talented, but that he needs to pull back a little bit. Like, I think, I don't know. I just think that the gross out stuff took away, and the story was kind of weak in general. In all honesty.
and how many times use kids in a shocking way in horror nowadays with really disgusting stuff, and at this point
it's a thing.
It's desensitized, and it's really not even shocking anymore. It's just kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. I mean, so even though obviously it's going to be a Lee Cronin film because they prominently put that in the title of the film, I was hoping that it wasn't going to be like Evil Dead Rise. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit different than that, because I think that you can be more nuanced with a mummy film than what he brought us, which was just gross out, demonic possession, not really a mummy. It didn't feel like a mummy film at all. It did okay business this weekend. What did it end up like at 15, I think? I mean, but it's 15. Not the problem with it is it's not going to have anybody that speaks real fondly of it. No. And so you're not going to have word of mouth, and it's going to die on the vine. I mean,
so just a couple things on that. The budget's 22, so it really only needs to make a little bit more.
So that's good. I mean, that's good.
But when I do a prediction every week, and I don't talk about this all the time because kind of boring numbers and stuff like that, and I don't always perform well. But this one, everyone was going higher on this one, and I decided to go lower.
So you dominated.
13th million, and I think I came in second because another guy switched to like 13.5 or something. Yeah,
he saw your number and he was like, "Oh crap, Garrison's probably right."
So I just had a feeling. The buzz around this film. I know that there were rumors about disastrous test screenings. I wouldn't say this is a disastrous film.
No. It's not disastrous, but it does go too far. I mean,
maybe they did reshoots to shore up some things. I have no clue.
It should not have been 2 hours and whatever minute. No. It shouldn't have been over 2 hours.
It's entirely too long. It tries to do the gross out stuff a little too much. And also, let me say this: the ending of the film, that feels like something that was tacked on after notes and reshoots.
Totally, yeah. Like, let's have a happy ending. Yeah.
Once the father gets locked in the box and he's got the demon in him, and he's made a noble sacrifice essentially, and is communicating with his daughter through Morse code. That feels like the ending. It's sad, but the daughter's free. The dad understands what he's doing, and he is making this sacrifice. And then all of a sudden, we get the mom making this phone call, and it just feels like this coda to the film.
So weird, such a weird ending.
Feels like people coming in the test screening going, "I don't like that ending."
Yeah,
and Blumhouse responding, "Okay, well let's reshoot that."
Yeah. So this
feeling, I don't know.
This was, I didn't realize, because I equate whenever like a classic monsters movie comes out, I automatically equate that with Universal. I did not realize this was a Warner Brothers. So this is kind of like their first miss, like Pam and Mike's first miss.
But
like Mike, you said, low budget.
Associated with this?
Well, I don't know.
They are.
Well, you're right though, because it's a new line release technically. So maybe they aren't on the new line.
Technically are, because they're the heads of everything. But
well, yeah, but it does fall down. Like once you say it's a new line film, and then Atomic Monster and Blumhouse, so maybe like it does fall down quite far from them, but I don't know. And with it only being a 22 million budget, like you said, it probably is going to make its money back.
Yeah.
So
that's the great thing about Blumhouse. It may have already, because Blum will sell the international rights in a second and will make money usually prior to the release of the U.S. theatrical. Right.
Yeah, so I guess technically we can't call it a failure because it is going to make its money back,
But if you wanted
and
it
maybe
to
be profitable. It could be
but if,
profitable too.
but if you wanted it to be a new Mummy franchise, it's probably a failure.
Oh, I can't imagine that they had any intention of turning this into a franchise.
Not after they saw the footage, probably.
Well, I mean, especially now that you've got your competitor announcing that they're rebooting the original Mummy franchise, the Brendan Fraser Mummy. So you've got your competitor out there, you know, basically putting their stake in the ground and saying, hey, the big boys are coming back, and so you're not going to have a franchise. So this is, technically speaking, the second failed Mummy franchise, because the Tom Cruise Mummy also failed.
That's true. Yeah, the Tom Cruise Mummy, which was supposed to launch the Dark Universe, and had that hilarious trailer release, which released without music and had Tom Cruise just screaming in the release. That was a fun time. Unfortunate, because I honestly think a series of Dark Universe films could probably work, but you need a good first film.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so I really in the long run, I really wish I didn't like Lee Cronin. I wish he was like a pompous jerk, but you can tell that he loves movie making. He loves cinema. And so I'm bummed that I didn't like his movie that much, but I'm rooting for him to continue filmmaking, because I think that the thing that I don't like about some of the stuff that he does is the constant extreme close-ups. I get kind of
he spammed split diopter.
There's
dude. There's 50 split diopter shots.
There's a lot.
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but there is a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
I mean, you've got, and if you don't know what split diopter is at home, but you've got a person in the foreground, person in the background, and then there's a blur between them because they're only focused on those 2 points.
Right. Yeah.
And just good Lord.
It was a lot, and just extreme, and I know that from I want to gross you out audience member standpoint, the extreme close-up is how you do it, but I'm just dude, it's too much. You did it too much. You pulled your bag of tricks out too much with this movie, and there was nobody on set saying, hey dude, maybe slow down on this a little bit. I can forgive that type of stuff if your story is good, but I didn't even think that the story was that great. There was too many, in all honesty, there was too many characters that didn't matter.
It's got an intriguing hook, but it kind of feels like Cronin didn't really know where to go with it.
Yeah, or something. I mean, and I don't think he wrote the screenplay.
Especially when you have the father undo the sacrifice at the end, it feels kind of just okay.
Yeah, you're undoing the whole point of making a sacrifice like he did.
Yeah, which, of course I feel good. I'm like, oh, it's nice that the father got out, but why?
But after what he's put you through for 2 hours and 15 minutes, even that feel good moment at the end doesn't feel good, because you're just all of that for this. I mean, it just I don't know. It was disappointing. I wanted to like it because I did. There was aspects of Evil Dead Rise that I thought worked well, but the advantage to Evil Dead Rise versus this, Evil Dead Rise was a much more compacted story. It took place in one room basically, and so
I need to watch that.
It's okay. It's not like Fede Alvarez's. The reboot of the franchise was probably the best one. Now, I'm looking forward to not the one that's coming out this year, but the one coming out in 2028, April 2020, the Evil Dead Wrath, just because there's something about even the logo that has been released for that harkens back to kind of the old, maybe there's going to be a little bit of humor in this movie, and it's not totally just, we're here to disgust you, which is, I think, what the most recent Evil Deads have been. But anyways,
well, this week we got a big major film,
huge film coming out
for our focus. Michael from Lionsgate, directed by Anton Fuqua.
Anton Fuqua, big huge this movie could make $2 billion worldwide. It could make $2 billion.
I think it's going to be big.
I think it will be
sure. Michael's got a big fan base still, and I think people are going to be excited for this film. Michael, has had some behind the scenes drama where they had to kind of reshoot the whole third act and restructure the film,
right?
Getting rid of some of the controversial stuff, and not because of the estate, but because of the estate's deal with an accuser that basically said the accuser could not be used in media. And so now they've had to go through it and redo it after the lawyers went through the initial edit of the film. So
yeah, and I'm not necessarily worried about any of the alleged accusations. Michael Jackson has been pretty much Teflon when it comes to that stuff. And his fan base is so rabid that I don't think that it's going to hurt the box office of the film at all. I think internationally the movie's probably going to do better. I mean, his international fan base is probably much bigger than what's here domestically. So I think that it's got, in all seriousness, I think it's got a good chance to hit $1 billion. And beyond.
There's a possibility.
Yeah. I think at the very least, I want to say that it will beat Bohemian Rhapsody as the most successful musical biopic.
The crazy thing is, to me, back to back weeks, Michael, Devil Wears Prada 2, which is going to be big, but maybe not as big internationally, and Mortal Kombat 2, which has a chance to be. They moved it out of October because they thought it was going to be huge and they wanted a bigger slot, which is crazy to put it then in the midst of this packed summer. But I think it's going to open big no matter what. So
I think it'll open big, but it'll have the typical 60% drop off, though. I agree.
I think they were better served last year in October, but
probably would have been. Unless they really did need to maybe add some stuff or tweak some things in the edit. I don't know. But we'll see. But we'll go see Michael. There's a couple other smaller things coming out this weekend as well that I'm going to try and see. I think David Mackenzie's Fuse is interesting to me. And there's one other thing besides Fuse that's coming out that's somewhat interesting this weekend. Not really. The Christophers is getting a wider release. That's Steven Soderbergh's new film. And then Over Your Dead Body is also coming out, which looks really fun.
I didn't realize Soderbergh did the Christophers. Okay.
Yeah, that's Soderbergh's new movie is the Christophers. Yeah. Okay. Not a huge fan of the cast of that film, but I do like Steven Soderbergh, so I want to go see that. And then the Over Your Dead Body with
Samara Weaving,
and Jason Segel. That looks really fun. So I do kind of want to.
And it's 87 North, if I'm wrong.
Oh, it is. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you want to watch some Netflix slop, Apex is also coming out with Charlize Theron and Taron Egerton.
That's why we're getting those quotes right now. Okay.
Yeah. She's out promoting Apex, so she's opening her big mouth and saying stupid things, which shocking that she's doing that. But Taron Egerton looks like he's having a lot of fun in Apex. And I'm not saying that it's going to be slop. It could be a good movie, but Taron Egerton as the villain is a fun thing for me. So I may be watching Apex. I probably will eventually.
Where can people find you online?
Yes, definitely. I am mostly on Letterboxd under Michael Nip, but I'm also on X at the Michael Nip, and then really most of the time I'm in our Discord, which I'll let Garrison tell you guys about.
You could find me online at GRyfun3, GRYFUN3. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyfun, GRYFUN. You can find us at Cinema Debrief on Twitter and Instagram. You can also email us at cinemadebriefpod@gmail.com to get access to our Discord, our lovely Discord, which has many channels. We had a lot of different channels to post in with CinemaCon this week. Sometimes you can post in the MCU channel, you can post in the movie channel. We've got a great promo channel with people like Melissa, who's got her podcast.
Yeah, Food for Thought. And several other of our Discord members have their own podcasts as well.
Yeah.
David has his Disney podcast.
Yes.
The Main Street Electrical podcast. That is one too.
Yep.
The thing with Disney is there's always constantly news coming out about Disney parks, and that is the only way I can get my news is listening to his podcast, because he keeps up with that stuff religiously. Like Garrison and I keep up with all the movie news religiously. David is specifically keeping track of Disney news, and so it's important to listen to the Main Street Electrical podcast because you will get like all the most recent Disney news if you're into the parks and travel and all that.
Yeah, I was about to say, especially park stuff too.
Yeah,
I mean that's huge, and he's great on that podcast. If you want access to our Discord, just email us there, and we'll see you guys next week for Michael and To Be or Not to Be.